Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of March 19th, 2019. Roll call, please.
4 selectmen present, town administrator.
Pledge of Allegiance. Mike, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First off, we have citizens' comments. Come on up.
Announcements. You
Oh.
want to swap them around? It's okay.
Okay, swap around.
Okay, no problem.
Paul, you want to come up?
Make sure you pull the mics to your mouth, okay, when you talk.
I always had a big mouth.
No, I know, I'm not worried about you so much. I'm not worried, I can hear you from across the street.
That's correct.
For the record, Selectman Scasiola was here at 7:04. Before we start, just want to understand, the citizens petition articles automatically come in. And I know I had them invite you for next week when we actually do the recommendations. This presentation really might be better when we do the recommendations before we do that. Because this is really basically speaking on the article itself. It's up to you, but it's like duplication.
No, the only reason why I brought that in tonight, I had understood that you originally had that packet,
No, we never got it.
and then I found out you didn't. So I'm just presenting it to you. I don't expect you to look at it tonight. I figure you can read it between now and next week, because we are on the agenda for next week, and use it then.
It's up to you. All I'm saying is, if you're gonna do a presentation, when we do it next week before it's just twice. You can do it now if you want, or you can do it next week.
Well, I'm not so sure I'm really doing a presentation tonight.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you to understand a little bit better about what Harry C. Bessie was, or who he was. From what I understand, we have a lot more people coming in next week to make the presentation.
I'm just trying to make it easy.
All right, thank you. Harry Bessie was a citizen of Onset. He was a World War II veteran, and he was the first Harbor Patrol officer in Wareham. And that packet, once you go through it, will clearly give you an understanding of what he did and how long he did it. Other than that, I haven't got an awful lot to say. Hi, Paul.
You want to go?
Please. Paul Cardolino's here to talk about Harry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Cardolino. In 1971, I came to the town of Wareham after doing 2 years in Vietnam. And while I was in Vietnam, I learned what true heroes were. Well, when I first met Harry Bessie, I was walking the street because Lou Halbert fell over the curbstone and broke his leg. So I ended up eating the street. And we got a call, Harry got a call. Harry and his wife, Ginny, would always be in the center of town if they weren't in that boat. They got a call to go to that boat. I get a call to go with them. We ended up going into the canal and physically took 3 people who were in the water. I get seasick, do you understand that? But Harry Bessie and his wife pulled those people into that boat. That is one of the many in the 8 years that I've known Harry Bessie, all right, to put his own life in danger to rescue people not only in the town of Wareham, but the people in the town of Bourne. And you have to remember, years ago, Onset Fire didn't have a boat. Wareham Fire did not have a boat. The only boats were around were members of the fire department who were able to go get their boats and go out and help. Harry, for 8 years that I was aware of, okay, never ever put his safety or his wife's safety. He would always look at the people who needed him in the most, and he would always go out there and rescue them, whether it was midnight, whether it was a storm. Harry Bessie, in my opinion, was a true hero. He was one of the people that stood in the background, but Harry would go out and put his life in the line just to turn around and save other people. And I think what people should understand is, if something's going to be named after somebody, it should be named after somebody who has put their life, right, in danger to save other people's lives. And Harry Bessie was that man.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Don King. I'm representing the Veterans Council. We've worked quite a bit with Mike and looking at the background material as far as his uncle goes, and we find that this is quite a unique individual and quite an asset to the town of Wareham. He was born in the town. He went through the Wareham school system, and he entered the military service in '43 and was discharged in '46. Therefore, you know, as far as the council goes, he is a veteran, and we're highly glad to be involved with this process. Some of the highlights was that we found was that, really affects the town waterways. In 1964, he identified that there was an increased use of the town's waterways and proposed to review the current rules and regulations to improve safety. He realized that these proposed rules would need to be approved by the town voters. The rules were approved and tested during the year of '65, which is, you know, you can imagine the rules, as you all can be involved with, of what we need as far as our everyday things, whether it be school, whether it be taxes, or whatever they might be. But here he is rewriting the rules for the waterways, in which provides safety and a lot of activity in our areas of Wareham waters. This process was expanded over the years as many larger boats came into our town's waterways. The number of boats requiring Mr. Bessie's assistance grew as identified in our 1970 report to the town. 79 boats were towed or given assistance into port, 35 stolen or lost boats were recovered, and some $59,000 was estimated value in the boats recovered. He was involved with a lot of the things as far as the waterways in Wareham. He was involved with the state inspections. He had quite a rapport with these agencies that are out there in our waterways. As far as the veterans go, we highly feel that this individual is uniquely deserving to have his recognition, and we feel that there is no greater recognition right now than the Onset Pier area to be renamed. Naturally, we realize it'll always, in the minds of people, be Onset Pier, but it would be dedicated to Harry C. Bessie, and I think that's very appropriate.
No,
Yeah, I know you're coming in next week, Mike, as the lead petitioner,
yes.
and that's who presents to the Board of Selectmen. I know you had said that there were a lot of other people who are interested. Our practice has always been that the lead petitioner is the only one who speaks to the article, so I didn't want you bringing 20 people here all thinking they were going to, you know, come up to the microphone one after another along with you, because we haven't afforded that opportunity ever in the presentation of the articles. It's always the lead petitioner. So just so that you don't get people mad at you.
All right, thank you.
I just figured I'd tell you that.
Oh, I just said, why would it change? People are always mad at him.
Okay.
You can bring as many people as you want, though.
Well, it's a
Right.
matter of turning around and showing support for
Yeah.
what we're putting for
Right.
4 years.
That's fine, yeah.
No confusion.
But we just didn't want these people champing at the bit, and then, you know, you come up and then they say, me too, and we say, So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay.
Announcements, you want to do that?
Excuse me, any other citizens? I'm sorry. Okay, announcements.
All right.
Tony? Mary?
No.
Peter?
I got something on the board comments.
Okay. You're
All
up.
right, so first is the drop-in night for the opioid committee that is Wednesday nights, this Wednesday night, 5 to 8 at the Church of the Good Shepherd on High Street. Now, just want to remind everybody, you don't have to be hooked on opioids or alcohol to go there. If you're dealing with somebody who does have a problem with opioids, alcohol, or some drug addiction, you can get a lot of information there. They can help you a lot. And it might be something that will make you feel comfortable about being able to deal with the situation you might be dealing with. I know there's a lot of people out there who deal with that every single day. And if you get over there and ask, there's lots of people there to help you, and they'll be able to help. And they'll probably be able to help get you them, maybe get them into a program if, at some point when they're ready or whatever, but at least you can go there and understand what you need to understand and what's going on. Because a lot of people blame themselves, and nobody should be blaming themselves for this. That's just bad. That's a bad way to go. Go down there, listen to these folks. They know what they're talking about. The hospital's there, the committee's there. There's people from every different organization that services these things. And even they have they have Narcan and all kinds of things, training and all that stuff. So it's a good thing. So if you get a chance, go over there 5 to 8. Okay, next is the chicken bake and surprise auction. This is a great time. I don't know if anybody's been to this, but it's Saturday, March 30, 6 p.m. at the Redmond Hall. Now, tickets are $20, and they don't sell tickets at the door, if I remember right. It doesn't say, but I don't think they do. If I remember right, they don't sell tickets at the door.
They have limited seating.
And it's because it's limited seating, and it's a terrific time. You can bring a wrapped item for a surprise auction if you want, and that's helpful because what they do is they take all these items and they raffle them off. And I know they've had some great stuff too. I know one night there was tickets to movies and all kinds of gift certificates from all the businesses around town and everything. It's really a fun time. And Howie Smith is absolutely hilarious. He does a great job, so you might want to go get that. If you want to get tickets, you can call Howie at 508-295-4679 or Missy Bourne at 508-295-6534. And it's sponsored by the Wareham Firemen's Association, and it's to benefit their scholarship fund. Next up is board and committee openings. We have a lot of them. We're always looking for people to fill these, and it's okay if you're my friend to apply. Some people think that, we only put our friends on these boards, but it's really not about that. Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the Beach and Tourism Committee, the Cemetery Committee, Charter Review Committee, Community Preservation Committee, Conservation Commission, Council on Aging, Finance Committee, Historic District Committee, Historical Commission, Library Trustees, Minot Forest Committee, Planning Board, Associate Member, Recycling Committee, Wareham Cultural Council, and the Zoning Board of Appeals Associates. So those committees have openings. Please come serve your community. We need your help. Thank you. And that's all I have this evening for announcements.
Okay. What I have for today is on Monday, this coming week, on the bridge, they're doing the bridge work again. And it'll be down on one lady's side probably till, I think, about the middle of May. On that piece there. The other piece is just a very quick, sad note. Our basic chairman of the Housing Authority has been on vacation, and his wife suddenly passed away this past week on Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure exactly. He's not back yet. I believe they were away, and unfortunately, we'll have a moment of silence when Bob gets back later. That's all I have for today right now. Go ahead, Peter.
Just a reminder that 2 weeks from now is the town election. The polls open at 7 o'clock in the morning. They close at 8 o'clock at night. You can vote if you're in Precinct 1. You vote right here at Town Hall. If you're in Precinct 2, Onset, you vote at the Hammond School. Precinct 3, which is Great Neck and part of Onset Ave, Oakdale, the precinct has been moved to the Hammond School, so don't show up at mine. Nobody is there. Precinct 4 and 5 vote at Deacus, and Precinct 6 is voting at the fire station on Glen Charlie Road. So once again, town election 2 weeks from now, 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. You know, this is an opportunity to choose 2 selectmen, a couple of school committee members. I don't know if anybody's actually running for the assessor's seat, so that's kind of interesting.
No.
But this is your opportunity to make your voice heard and decide who represents you in the town government. The second thing is, we finally received approval from the Massachusetts Attorney General's office for Article 13, which was passed at the Fall Town Meeting, which was the Tremont Nail rezoning. The Attorney General typically takes 90 days to review these things, has up to 90 days. At the very last minute, a complaint about the article came in. After a month of back and forth with the Attorney General, handled through our Town Council, Attorney Bowen, and information from myself and also the town planner in response to the allegations that were made against the bylaw. These were carefully reviewed. They were rebutted in a 7-page letter we received this past week from the Attorney General, and I have copies of that letter for the media as well. I'll say that the only effect that this complaint had was to delay construction at Tremont Nail to redo the building so that the marijuana processor could get in there. It cost the town a month's rent, roughly $15,000, and it cost whoever they're going to hire to work in the facility a month's worth of paychecks. So it's kind of regrettable that people would go to these lengths to stop something and frankly come up with stuff that just had zero basis in fact.
Let it record show that council came in at 7:16.
Okay, next we have board comments. Tony, anything?
No.
Mary?
No.
Peter?
No, I'm good
Okay.
today.
I have one piece of news that's come up. I'll do some other stuff later. If people remember back a couple of years ago, we voted at town meeting for basically energy aggregation, which was basically a program that allowed a company to come in and purchase energy for the whole town and basically save the average household or business, not the town itself, anywhere from $100 to $250 a year. We didn't make the cutoff date because of the town meeting time frame, and we've been sitting for the last year and a half banging away at it. A fellow named John O'Rourke from Good Energy, I see him probably 7 or 8 times a year, and the first thing I say is, where's our contract? We did get news a couple of days, I think it was last week, Derek, that sometime in June we'll have copies of the contracts. Information will come out with the opt-in or opt-out. Again, if someone doesn't want to be in this program, they can simply opt out. There's a form for it. And this will be coming through finally after all this time. So there will be savings available because, as everybody knows, the energy rates have been steadily banging up, and they've actually had a pretty good increase. I think last November, December was approved, and it's going to go up again. So we're trying to help everybody out, and this is one way just before election time and everything else. That's happened, but it wasn't an election process. So it is finally here, and I'm sorry it took 2 years, but we'll do the best we can. And we'll have more information for you shortly.
And they didn't do it for you because you're not up for re-election,
That's right.
just to be clear.
Yes, this time.
Okay, appointments, reappointments, we have none. We go to license and permits. The first one is the application for the Oyster Festival to use town roads. They're not gonna be here tonight, so I'll just make the motion. I move we approve the Onset Festival, Sunday, May 26, 2000, excuse me. Yeah, what did I say?
Onset.
Onset, sorry about that.
It's okay.
The Oyster Festival for Sunday, May 26. Boy, that has got to be a
That's to be
senior
Freudian.
moment.
Yeah.
It's a
Huh?
Freudian
A
stuff.
Freudian thing? Okay, well,
Trying
whatever.
to move everything to onset.
Everything's in onset, typically. Okay, so the Oyster Festival, Sunday, May 26, 2019, between 8 and 5 p.m., the use of town roads, and the town must remain harmless, and insurance must be provided, which I believe it is, and it is. So, no vehicle and equipment may remain on the town roads after conclusion of the event, and any vehicle or equipment remaining on site will be removed at the expense of the association.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Mary. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the application of a Good Life Nutrition Corporation. Come on down. I know that's you. I saw you on TV. I did.
Oh, good.
I saw you on TV.
Did I look okay?
All right,
Before we start, I'd like to apologize to both of you, simply because you had got an okay to go ahead and open, and they didn't realize you were having tables and stuff, and therefore required a common vic license, and therefore, you know, my wife in particular, up back, was questioning whether you guys were legally open or not, but it wasn't any attempt at anything, it was just that our office made a mistake, basically.
Okay,
So
thank
we
you.
apologize.
Thank you. Thank you.
all right. So why don't you tell us what you do, and then give yourself a little plug before we go forward.
Sure. So it's a Good Life Nutrition is a nutrition club, and it's an opportunity for people to come in and they get an aloe, a tea, and a shake. They're all healthy for you. They all work in a certain way. It's also a place for people to come convene, meet new people in Wareham. We like to call ourselves Cheers without the beers. So you're getting something healthy, but you're sitting at a bar and you actually get a shot glass of aloe. So it's something that's kind of fun, something different. We also like to do events and whatnot to bring people together.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Protein meal replacement shakes. It's Herbalife, if you've ever heard of it.
all right.
Your hours?
We're Monday through Friday, 7 to 4, Saturdays 9 to 1, Sundays 10 to 1.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, Nick.
Anybody want to ask questions?
I'll ask. Tony?
Where you located?
170 Main Street, right next to Woolin, across from Common Farms.
It's the old, where the barber shop was, next to the Chinese
Yeah.
restaurant? Mary?
I've been in there. I think it's great. I had your cinnamon iced tea and the aloe shot and strawberry banana shake.
Awesome.
Is that it?
All in one, all in one sitting?
That's your service. Yeah, you get all three things in one service.
Any questions, Peter?
No, but I think we're going to send him in.
Okay. Mary might be able to out-eat me.
Scary, isn't it?
Patrick, you have
Not
anything?
your usual poison,
Same
is it?
species, huh?
Not your usual poison.
We're not going there. Patrick,
Okay,
do you have any questions?
I move, no, I don't have any
Neither do I.
questions.
Let's go forward.
I'm going to move it forward. I move an application from Good Life Nutrition Corporation for 170 Main Street, Wareham. I move that we approve their common vicular license.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Mary. Any questions from the board again? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Sure you pick up your license probably tomorrow at the selectman's office.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up,
Congratulations, good luck.
Thank you.
we have some seasonal liquor licenses.
Yep.
All right, let's see, the first one I have is Point Independence. We'll do that one first, I guess. Let's see, what else do we got here? Yeah, they got a card and everything here.
It's all there.
Independence. Okay, here we go. He's here, actually, maybe he left. Okay. I move that we approved Point Independence Yacht Club, DBA Point Independence Yacht Club, 15 Independence, Onset, Mass. Manager Christopher S. Cuppins, for a all-alcoholic seasonal beverage license under the provisions of Chapter 138, sorry.
Motion by Patrick, second by
Trying to remember, see,
Tony.
that's a memory thing.
Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Thank you.
Yeah, that's, just send this off. 2 seconds here. A lot of cards for these guys. And a lot of places to put stuff. That one's, yep, they're all Point Independence. Okay, next up. Sienna Cafe LLC, DBA American Cafe, 200 Main Street, manager Karen Moore. Is she here? No? I move we approve the wine and malt beverage seasonal license under the provisions of Chapter 138.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Perfect. All right, next up is discussion and vote and recommend articles to the spring annual town meeting.
It's actually a two-piece thing. One would be a recommendation for favorable action, whichever way you want to word it, and the other one would be to actually put items on the, which is item B, which is kind of confusing a little bit, because what it is,
If I do B first.
yeah, we can do either way. So if you want, we can go to the special town meeting. We have to basically vote on those articles going
You
into
know,
the warrant.
you know what's in here is, let's see, a seasonal renewal certificate. You know, we want to do that first? Let's get this out of the way.
It's a
Yeah,
standard thing.
this is the standard thing, we do it all the time. All right, so this is a seasonal renewal certificate for 2019, I move we approve it. It says licensee corporation's name and address changed, none, and license disapproved, none. And I move we approve it as presented.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions?
Let's just
None
get
heard?
that out of the way.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
And then I have the surplus thing, you want to do that quick too, because it's 2 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
I move that we allow the auction of surplus vehicles and equipment to be, it doesn't say the date, I imagine it'll be made at some point. Yeah, we're just gonna get rid of all this municipal maintenance, doesn't say that either, but I know what, you can tell by what it is. Freight liners, although there's some school buses too, so,
Those are buses.
yeah, it's a bunch of stuff. Victoria, there's a couple of cars in here, there's a pickup truck, there's a bunch of stuff. So they'll run it on an auction somewhere, I'm sure.
Motion by Patrick, second by
Second.
Mary. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Okay.
Let's go into the special for now, let's get that done.
This goes down, these are minutes. These are going down the bottom. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the votes. You want to go back to the votes first? Or do you want to do the special first?
Let's do the special, because we don't have to have a real
Okay.
long discussion.
Yep. I
On
got
the
the
regular
special.
ones.
Have somebody here to present on it anyways, since holding them up.
All right, I got the special right here. So let me read, you want me to read quick what the articles are?
Yes, the
'Cause,
public should know what they are.
Yeah, because originally we didn't have them yet, so, all right, so it starts with Article 1, obviously, and it has 11 articles in it. And the first article is budget transfers. The second one is fund parking program. Spring 2019 capital plan. Transfer of available funds. They have some funds to move around that have been sitting there. Solar pilots. PEG access receipts to the Wareham Community TV, Municipal Facility Stabilization Fund, rescind prior year bond authorizations, transfer of tax title property, new housing units at Agawam Village, and I believe that's a petition article, isn't it? No, they're asking us to put it on, okay.
Nope.
And name the onset pier in honor of Harry Bessie. So that's the total that are here. And that is a petition article.
Mr. Chairman, I believe one was turned in this morning from the Finance Committee.
There was, it was to alter the terms.
Yes.
There was a,
I
It was
saw
a
that a
bylaw
while ago,
change.
but it's not on the list for some reason. Let me take a look.
Do you know when that was turned in, Bernie, originally?
No, I think it was turned in,
Janet got it by email yesterday.
Ooh. Not by Thursday.
she did send it out to the board, so I have seen it.
all right, so I'll make that number 12.
Yeah,
And,
we can renumber and put the petition article.
yeah, number 12.
Petition number 12, we usually do those as the last and make the finance committee last one if you don't want.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't mind.
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
so I'll make this Article 12, I'll make this 11.
I've signed all
Number
the ones
11 will become Finance Committee.
You signed.
I signed on the bills, you don't have to sign those.
Nope.
I have a question for town council. Am I under the impression that the articles to be filed was supposed to be done by Thursday last week? Am I right or wrong?
Mr. Chairman, honestly, I don't know.
That was in our process for calling the town meeting. However, since we control the warrant, we
One
can
of
put
our
on
boards,
anybody's
sure, we
articles
can-
right up until the very
Just
end.
to make sure there's no confusion.
No, and there's no illegality if we vote to put the Finance Committee's article on now.
No, I know
No,
that.
not at all.
I just want to make
We'll
sure.
wag our finger at them, and then we'll go from there.
All right,
All right, so,
thank you.
so I move we put Articles 1 through 12 on the special town meeting warrant.
I do have one concern regarding the community preservation housing article.
All right, so which one is that?
Number 10.
So that's number
Just,
10. All right,
just
so,
as-
so I move that we put all Articles 1 through 12, with the exception of 10, okay? So we can do them all at once, and then we'll talk about
then
that
we can have her
one.
come up and do a
Yeah,
discussion
exactly.
anyway.
All right? All right, so that's what my suggestion, okay?
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions, since most of these you just get today? Tony, any questions?
All set.
Mary?
Nope.
Peter?
No.
Patrick?
No.
Alan, no. Town administrator will be available for information on the breakout of these as we go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. Mrs. Slavin, you want to come up and we'll do Article number 10.
So this is the new housing units at Agawam Village. It has been, just so everybody knows, it was corrected as to its form from the previous one, and also, it now says 4 housing units. It does not say up to 4 housing units. So now it does talk about 4 housing units, okay?
Would
Good
you like to
evening.
explain the,
Sandy Slavin, co-chair of CPC.
Yeah.
It's broken.
Is it really? Oh, the back. You didn't have to break the chair.
did you lean against that again?
Hey, that'll give her, she'll have too many pieces to throw.
The bolts are all gone.
That's what happens when you know those candy bars.
Yeah, I think we add that to the list.
Yes,
Chair.
surplus chair.
Yes, Sandy Slavin, co-chair of Community, make sure I got the right committee, Community Preservation. We received a request from Wareham Housing Authority to submit a CPA grant request for, was it $650,000 for 4 units to be built at the Agawam facility. And CPC discussed it with them and voted on it and approved the submitting of the article for consideration at Springtown meeting. Because we used the words up to 4 units, it was questioned. We took it back and made a grant request for 4 units, and because of the timing, it has to go on special spring. And this is for 4 units, affordable, senior, handicapped, however, it's that type of thing. Now, this is the 4th time CPC has made a request for units at the Agawam, and we're going to keep trying.
Thank you. Tony, any questions? Mary?
I don't have any questions, no.
Peter?
Yeah, I just want to make note that on the town annual regular town meeting warrant, there's an article to transfer out of town control to the Wareham Redevelopment Authority, the property over at Littleton Drive, which is actually, I think, 43 lots in a 13-acre subdivision. The thinking is that with community preservation, and especially a substantial amount like this, plus land, we could get a heck of a lot more units built for the $650,000. This is something that came up in between last town meeting and this one. I know that Town Administrator Sullivan has spoken with Chairman Paulides of the Housing Authority about it. He seems interested, although I'm not sure he exactly followed what the plan would be to do that. I did speak also with Jackie Hickey, but of course she's an administrator. She's not a decision maker over there. So while I may vote to put it on, it's doubtful that I'll recommend this at this time. I just feel that for $650,000, I'd rather leverage that money and try to spend it on a property that could accommodate upwards of 40 units rather than simply build 4. A second reservation I have is that I have had conversations with Peter Sanborn, who runs our community development block grant, and of course his company has been involved in a lot of work with DHCD to build housing and so on and so forth. And he has serious reservations whether $650,000 will go to build 4 units. So my concern is not to spend the money on affordable housing. I think we'd all like to do that. My concern is to take the taxpayers' money and try to get the best bang for the buck.
Totally understand. In 2016, the selectmen voted not to put on 4 units, and the reason was there was another project in the works. Well, it never happened, and I'm concerned that you have voiced your issues with, this is not the best use of our money, quite a few times on the selectmen's meetings, that even before we submitted the article. So I'm concerned that, I know it's in competition with the redevelopment authority for the same use of the CPA funds. And if I would urge you to put it on the town warrant and let the article and your opposition to it come forward on town meeting, and let the town voters decide whether or not to spend the $650,000. But we haven't spent any, CPC has not spent any money other than the $70,000 to convert an office to a 1 unit. I mean, if we had approved this 4 years ago, there would have been 4 people living in their homes by now. And because that project everybody was thinking was in the works, never happened.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that
Didn't have that on the agenda, though.
Sorry.
I think the redevelopment authority can get some things done here. If you look at our track record so far, we've managed to get things through town meetings and leverage certain things to try to make,
But
That has to be on.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, we apologize. Have
so
an issue with the licenses.
that would be my response to that.
We're gonna have to bring it back.
And we're in the position right now of at least $100,000 every year coming in to be put aside for our housing reserve. So it wouldn't take long to put that money back up. We have over $1 million sitting in unallocated funds in CPC, so there would be funds available for the project on Littleton. But this is under the control of the Housing Authority. It already has an established entity to watch over that property. Whatever might come down of Littleton, that hasn't even happened yet. So we don't know who will end up owning the property for development. My understanding, the redevelopment authority will be working on finding somebody that will take over the construction and ownership. Because I didn't think the redevelopment authority could own it once it got built.
I'll fix it.
Mr. Chairman, do you
Go
mind
ahead,
if I
Barry.
ask?
Would you like us to stop?
Yes, actually.
Do the spousal thing later. You guys fight later.
I got, remember, I have
So-
a separate bedroom, it's fine.
We've had this has been through 2016. Do we have a copy of the survey and the engineering and design for this, the layout for the location, where all the utilities are?
They have a printout of the makeup of the module home that will go in the place. I have not seen the actual location, but there was a survey done for this property maybe 10 years ago, and that identified where this would go. I would have to go digging through CPA files to find it, but the Housing Authority did submit to us a floor plan and whatever for these 2 units. They'll be,
Has Guy spoken to some of the sewer issues of the lines and the?
I don't know where that stands.
Okay.
I mean, to do that, we sort of need the approval to even consider building it. I mean, if the approval is there, then we will start looking at that type of, do we have enough sewer capacity to handle 4 units?
No, I'm not, it's not just the capacity, but that location has some severe sewer issues, and there's pipes that they don't know the location of, so I'm just a little concerned.
I'm not aware of that. As a sewer commissioner, I've not had that come before us
Okay.
as a concern.
If the article goes before the town meeting, then that stuff can be brought up at that time.
Yeah, no, I just think it's, I was hoping this would all be done ahead of time so we can give sort of a full package to town meeting.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to, I guess, on your end, you can request from the Water Pollution Control Facility to supply you with information for town meeting.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
if they could give us a survey. And unfortunately, one of the big issues is, maybe we can reach out to Ms. Hickey about this with,
Yes.
Mr. Paulides, and, that's
Peter?
a tragedy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, regrettably and certainly understandably, I don't think we want to be bothering Bob at this time with these sorts of
We're
questions.
not gonna be able to.
No,
I've
I
already
mean,
tried.
yeah, I mean,
The answer is
just-
no. Okay. I need a motion on this.
I move we approve Article 10 to go on the special town meeting warrant.
Motion by Patrick, second by
Second.
Mary. Any questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you, and if you let me know what your concerns on, I will pass them on to Ms. Hickey to see if she can come up with the documents you're looking for,
be a good
and it
idea.
will be discussed at the sewer commissioners meeting
I'm
on
gonna do these.
Thursday.
I don't care.
If I,
I think it'd be
if I
good,
remember.
especially-
It's no big deal.
Whatever
You
like.
remember
I can do
everything,
it.
Sandy,
I'm just
come
gonna do
on.
them right now.
Thank you.
All right, next we got a couple of renewals. Point Independence Yacht Club, I move we approve a live entertainment on weekdays license, which I have in my hands. It's the same one they've had right along. Also, I move we approve their weekday license for dancing and.
Dancing and frivolity.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I move we approve their common vic renewal as well.
Motion by
Second.
Patrick, second by Tony, sorry. Any questions from the board? Just so people know, as we just didn't quite see what was there, this is standard procedure.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 500.
Okay, next, you want to go back to recommending spring, we did that.
Yeah, I think Derek may have some information for the ones we haven't done yet.
Okay, I got them right here. Let's see, we haven't done 13, state mandated real estate and personal property reevaluation. We moved in favor of it. How come, oh, the FinCom hasn't done it. We did it. Okay, so we're all set.
The right
Is
column.
the state mandated reval in the annual?
Yes.
I want to keep that in the special, use it right away, but you all know, I'll amend since we have to change it tomorrow for the finance committee, I'll just amend Article 4 of the special town meeting, because I'd put the state mandated reval in all real estate as part of Chapter 4 transfer from available funds.
That's fine.
But I just want to double check, what does that article say?
Hold on. I'll get it right now.
Because if I remember, I had a concern about the funding source on that,
Yes.
for the reval in the
Reval,
annual.
to pay for the reval.
Hold on, I got it right here someplace.
Do we have a copy of the articles?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, no, that's my fault, I should have had that
Special,
ready, I
there
was
we go.
thinking about.
No, actually, I got a new one, but let's go through this one. All right, so you put it, do you remember what article it was? Do you-
No, you're looking for the regular town
No, the
meeting.
regular.
article.
Annual.
Patrick.
Oh, for the
Patrick.
annual.
That's what I don't think you have.
I thought you were gonna move it to the special.
I do,
Yes.
but if we've got it in the annual and
So if it's okay in the annual, you don't need it on the special.
Oh, so you wanna know what the
Right, so take
annual
it less
says,
than
is that
that.
what you're saying?
Just want to know what the
I
description
don't
of
think
the
we have a
annual is.
copy of the annual here, it's on our phones.
But I'll dig up the warrant on my
All right.
phone. Why don't you go through the other stuff?
Okay.
I'll pull it up.
We need to read it, what it is.
Yeah, we don't have a copy of it, it's on our phones and in your computer there.
It's on the,
All right, so how about, 6 is the capital planning article? Are you ready for that yet?
no, that will be a late
All
one.
right, budget, you're not finished with that yet?
No,
Okay. EMS?
that's the annual, they should have been presented with the EMS budget already on that. Let's see if I've got that from Dave, because I know you've got the water pollution control if you.
Well, we
wanna
just
start
got a
going-
couple of things in our email tonight,
Yeah, water
Yeah.
pollution
today.
control
Water
just came
pollution
today.
control came in.
Yep. I had Mr. Bailey send that to you. Hold on, I've got EMS over here.
There was a lot of information in that one, by the way.
Yep.
Just saying.
You want to put that on next week?
No, I mean, if you have any questions about the budget, the EMS, it's $1,739,121. There's effectively no change. All you have is the collective bargaining and just some changes in some of the expenses, but there's nothing, it's just, I hate to go Belichick on you, but it is what it is.
Okay, move favorable action for Article 8.
Second.
You kill me sometimes.
Article 8.
Yeah, I'm just getting it now, thanks.
It should be Article 8, which is EMS budget.
Why don't you make a motion on that one?
I just made it.
You made it, I second.
Move favorable article, and he
Okay, I was
seconded.
laughing too much.
it.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Peter?
And the,
Thank you, 500.
and the what do you call it, budget, Article 9, I know that's up, we got that in our packets too,
Yes.
was the
Just
Upper
quick
Cape
question.
Regional Technical School budget.
Did everybody download their email from the pollution control facility? It went
Got
out,
that budget, does everybody
For
look
that
at it?
article, yeah.
it came out this morning
I did
in
not.
your emails.
You want to wait?
You would have received it from Mr. Bailey.
I guess my question is, why aren't the requests coming from the sewer commission directly?
It's just the budget, and then we have.
Right, but they're the ones responsible for that, for formulating that budget, so.
Well, that's why we hired a business manager.
Actually, we made Derek the financial control over
Yeah.
that department with the second amendment to that, remember? We went back to town meeting the second time and made Derek responsible for their budget.
Sure, he's happy about that.
I'm always happy about that,
We delegated to the business manager.
so.
We're fine.
Okay.
It's perfectly okay.
So,
I just think where you've got a sewer commission, it would be nice to have their endorsement.
well, did they endorse it yet? Have you endorsed your budget? They've already done it, so
Yes, they have.
it's all set.
It just didn't come to us. that's
Yeah,
all.
we finished up some of the portions of that, including with the reimbursements for the direct and indirect. And you'll also see that there's a $19,000, so $19,700 essentially charged back to the town, and that's for the services for Mr. Bailey for procurement on the town side.
I'd like to make a comment that this is the first time I've seen a completely detailed, proper breakout of expenses, revenue, all the different pieces, et cetera, which was really a pleasure to go through this afternoon when I had a few minutes to go through it. I'd like to thank Mr. Bailey for a really good job.
Yeah, it was nice. You could actually say, okay, this is for this, that is for that, and the other thing's for the other thing.
Yeah.
It actually made sense.
You can figure out an EDU if
so-
you want to.
Yeah,
So,
Wow.
Derek, you want to just read us the bottom lines for the Upper Cape budget and the water pollution control budget?
We haven't voted on the water pollution control.
I know, I'm gonna have him read the numbers,
Yep,
that's all.
so for the budget, so when you're going with revenue and charges, it's $7,317,525. It'll
Okay.
be phrased differently in the motion, obviously, because there'll be X amount from
Right.
different
That's
sources.
fine.
But that is the bottom line of all the numbers.
Move favorable action.
Motion by
You
Patrick,
don't like that word. Move to recommend.
recommend.
Well, we have favorable everywhere here. Somebody wrote favorable on every single one.
Can't shake
I
that
know we
word.
said recommend, but they put favorable, so.
Excuse me, Bernie, what are you using for terms?
Beg your pardon?
What are you using for terms, the finance committee these
Are
days?
you recommending or saying favorable action?
Recommending.
Okay, so I'll make it recommend. It says favorable, it says favorable on every single one.
Not us straightened out.
I thought we said recommend. When we voted them, they'd all said recommend, I remember, but I see somebody had changed them all to favorable.
We used to make the biggest stink about it, so I'm just
Yeah,
having
well,
fun with you,
what
you
was I
know?
gonna do? I'm sitting here with a paper.
Okay, no questions from the board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, recommend.
All right, can I have the Upper Cape budget number?
$3,678,385. That's their operating and capital budget.
All right, move to recommend.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. One question to Mr. Sullivan, do we want Mr. Dutch to come now or town meeting to explain it?
He usually does a presentation for the we've done it where he comes to the finance committee
Finance
and the
committee.
board of selectmen together. It's however you want to work.
Yeah, I actually received the budget, I think, a day or so ago.
Yep.
I went through all of it, and again, they're doing a really good job per cost of student. Give them credit. Okay,
So it's
Right.
going to be up to if you and Chairman Pigeon want to get together and figure out how you want to handle it.
I don't want them to
think-
come 3 different times to the same
Right.
thing, not when they do the good job they do. Go ahead.
All right, next up is
Why
21,
don't we
which
do-
is,
Why don't we accept that budget?
oh, I just made the motion.
Okay, and
Yeah.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Okay.
Senior moment again.
All right, so, number 21 is the last one, and it's the grant easement. Remember that, that petition article? For the grant easement at,
We weren't ready for this.
what do you call it?
Yep, over
Mill
at-
Pond.
Yep, over at Mill Pond.
That's been
Come
on
to
hold.
any, have you worked towards anything on that yet?
We have spoken to some of the different parties. I'd say just let it go to town meeting. If it passes, as I said, you go with negotiations. I don't think it's the best thing to do right now, but I think we can work together.
The problem is, it's not written properly, I don't believe.
Why don't we move no action?
There's one of the big
Sorry
things
about the
is
One at a time, please.
one of the things that confuses people is when you get sort of the separation of powers is town meeting's the authorizing power.
Right.
So
They don't-
that's, so town meeting can authorize it, doesn't mean that it
Have to
happens.
do it, I know
Right.
that.
That's one of the big things. Town meeting authorizes the budgets. We don't have to spend every dollar. I know that's shocking at people. We try not to spend down to the pen. So,
And we don't.
All right, so you want to just let it go with no recommendation?
No action this time.
No action.
All right, so, okay, I move no action.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions for the board? None heard?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay.
So we're doing no action?
No action.
So is this going,
It will go to,
It's going to go to town meeting, and then they'll get to make their decision how
we're
to,
going to have just a 0 vote on that?
basically. Yeah.
and we've had that before.
Okay.
It's a citizens article again, so therefore,
Yeah, I mean, let them make
it
their
goes
case.
in, it's
you know?
going in, we're not stopping it from going in, it's just,
Okay.
there'll be enough information back and forth, people are gonna have to make a decision.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
any
I
other
mean,
questions?
They'll bring the information, and we'll
None
see
heard,
how
all in
it
favor?
goes.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Okay. All right, so that's it, with the exception of the capital plan and the budget, okay?
Okay.
Other than that, we've got it all. All right, so next up, we have
Post
to
agreement.
close the town meeting warrant.
Okay,
So moved.
close the special town
Second.
meeting warrant.
This is a special, yeah, it doesn't say that, but it is the special, yes.
No, it does say close.
It says
Special.
closed special, oh, yeah, it does. Mhm.
It's not just me today.
No, I'm like,
Yeah, I bet.
it's senior moment here, twice today.
There should be a folder.
Let's see if they gave me a folder or not. Let's see if she, yeah, it's here. Yeah, it's here. I know it is.
You're-
I know it is. You guys made me pull something else out, and
You gotta be
Sure,
careful, you're
shuffled up.
way ahead of me.
I got everything. You know, we're moving along pretty good, you know, considering. Here we go. All right. Let's see what we got here for signature
You got one,
pages.
it should be a signature.
I
page
know,
somewhere.
yeah, there it is. Hey, there it is.
Yay.
It is here.
Well, remember to sign this one, right?
Yeah, we're gonna sign this one. All right. So you have a motion?
And do we have a second?
Yeah.
Motion by
Peter
Patrick.
motioned,
You sure?
yeah.
Yeah.
He motioned it, I seconded it.
Okay.
Enjoying this today.
I know you
Motion by
are.
Patrick, second by Peter. Any questions of the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Right over your head from me to him.
All right, now, the
I think it was
next
my head.
thing,
That's why I have no hair.
you guys got
Guess
all
so,
kinds
rubbed
of
off.
crap going
all
on.
gone.
here. Let's see.
Thought it was her fault.
Where's
Host
that
agreement.
host agreement? Right here. All right. So next up is the host agreement with the Haven Center, Inc.
I've read through the agreement a couple times. It's basically a standard agreement that we've had with other marijuana companies that have come into town.
Speak to it.
Either as a cultivator, grower.
Well, we already talked about this,
Yeah,
what
it-
the agreement said.
Yeah, and it's not a retailer, so it's,
Yeah.
it's a,
I remember I was a little concerned about something, but somebody was able
yes,
to make me feel more comfortable, so.
you're welcome.
We don't have to sign this. This is signed, we have to authorize you to sign it.
Yes, I have to sign.
All right, so I move we approve the agreement, the host community agreement, and authorize Alan to sign it.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony.
Signed by Alan.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, 500.
We did the surplus goods. Any other town business not reasonably anticipated?
are there any special that you want to go over that we could maybe move out of the way?
Is there, for recommendations?
Yeah.
Well,
You're up for it.
It's up to you if you're ready.
I mean, we can go through the first one is Article 5, the solar pilots. That's for four separate locations, but basically one overall project, but we'd signed 4 separate pilot agreements, if you will. The payments on that with, when you combine them with the megawatts, are starting off at $259,000 annually with a 2.5% escalator over 20 years.
Those are the Borrego,
Yes.
Peace projects.
Correct. We've listed the properties on here, and I also have map lists that we can put at the town clerk's office or include.
okay, I move we
Recommend.
recommend Article 5 solar pilots.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained,
What
500.
else you got, Captain?
The next is the PEG access. That's what we just transfer
CT,
over
yeah.
to WCTV.
Right, I move we I move that we recommend the PEG access article, which is, hold on, I gotta find.
6.
6,
Second.
4, 5, 6, yes.
Motion by Patrick, second by Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Article 7 is the Municipal Facility Stabilization Fund, and that is, I'm just going to read it out so everybody understands what I'm speaking about. To see if the town will vote to establish a municipal facility stabilization fund as authorized by Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 5B, fourth paragraph, and further to dedicate 25% of all marijuana revenues and fees to fund the repair, maintenance, and upgrade of municipal facilities, or more specifically, a new police station, or do an act in any manner relative thereto. The reason for more specifically a new police station is that's the top priority of this municipal stabilization fund. But once that's achieved, whether that's 2 years or 20 years down the road, I think you need to keep the stabilization fund, capital stabilization fund going. So I don't want it to be a one and done, if you will.
Okay, but we already committed 25% to the police department. So that means 50% of the marijuana money will be allocated.
No, this is you can't dedicate, the only thing you can dedicate marijuana revenue for is the stabilization fund.
The rest goes into the general fund.
Is that so?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
If that's fine, then.
Yeah, the state was going to talk about putting a certain
Yeah,
percentage
that's what I
into
thought,
into education. They haven't pulled the trigger
Yeah.
on it.
Well, we should deal with that at some point. We talked about revenue sharing with that, so maybe we can deal with that at some
Yep.
point.
I'm sure they'll be talking to us about it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's only, well, it's right, I mean,
We
you
don't
know,
have to go to them, they'll come to us.
Yes.
well, we talked about a revenue sharing issue to try to eliminate all the arguments, you know.
By fall town meeting, we should have some answers from the state.
Okay. All right, that's good. All right, so I move we recommend Article 7.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Get number 8, you want to do that?
Number 8 is to rescind prior year bond authorizations, and this is basically housekeeping for our books. You'll see the list of the date that they were approved in the article. So the first one is the high school roof replacement. The original authorization was $2,708,922, and the unissued balance is $2,208,922. So if you remember, this is one of the MSBA reimbursements. We always have to go out for approve the full amount, just like we just did on the debt exclusion. And then you only actually borrow what the difference is between the reimbursements and the costs. Parker Mill dams repair, that was when the $1 million grant turned into $1 million loan, which we couldn't pay. So we had that authorization, so let's take that off the books. Modular classrooms, that's the one for Deaconess that they didn't end up needing, so let's take that off the books.
That was what, 800,000 or something?
800,000, correct. And again, folks need to understand, this is not borrowed money. This isn't money outstanding. This doesn't mean that suddenly we've got, between these two articles, $4.5 million coming to us. It's just authorizations that we're rescinding.
Paper.
Correct. So it counts against us from bond issuing authorities as liabilities, but there's nothing to them. And then the last one is what you saw last spring was the Swifts Beach Sewer Interceptor. That project came in at approximately a little over $4 million. There was the authorization to use $5 million within the WPCF funds, plus an additional $5 million of borrowing, up to $10 million. You do not need to borrow the $5 million, so let's rescind that. The question was asked if it could be used for any other WPCF projects. It cannot. It was very specific. So,
Okay,
Go ahead on that one.
all right, move to recommend.
Article number.
Article number 8, I believe.
Eight.
Article 8.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Next, transfer of tax title property?
so these are 3 old properties that have been with the town for a long time, and we'd like to transfer them to the redevelopment authority for purposes of disposal or any such matter.
Move to recommend Article 9.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. We'll have two members of the board abstaining simply because they're on the redevelopment authority. A little appearance of conflict that way.
Yep.
All
Okay.
those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
302.
And I think that's it for now, right? Budget transfers, fund parking, all that. You're not ready for that stuff yet, right?
I'm just gonna do a final tweak of that last article, just as there was a scrivener's error where disposal was not.
Okay,
Sorry, Mom.
You're welcome.
okay.
Okay. Next item would be any other business not anticipated 48 hours. Tony?
No.
Mary?
No.
Peter?
None.
Patrick?
Nope.
Alan, none. Next. Town Administrator's Report?
I'm brain dead after that.
You want to speak about the meeting set
Sign this, will you? I'm sitting there.
today over at Hammond or not yet?
No, I don't think there's, we'll go over that when there's
Okay.
the articles. Shoot, I've got a note to myself here for 40,000. I can't remember what that's for, so,
We'll figure it out.
yeah,
It's only 40.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Tony, any reports from committees? Mary?
No.
Peter?
Nope.
Patrick?
Nope.
Okay, I got a few today. Electronic voting, the moderator, myself, and Mr. Pigeon have been talking about electronic voting for the fall town meeting. We've had a meeting, I believe it was Monday, and we've basically gone ahead, and I've already contacted 2 out of the 3 companies that were listed for Massachusetts having the most infiltration of the electronic voting existing. I've already got responses from 2 of the 3. I'll be meeting, 3 of us will be meeting with one of the companies on the 8th of April. This particular company offers as of right now, supposedly a free demonstration trial. And it's not a demonstration, but an actual for the fall town meeting. I've asked for quotes for basically what they call renting or outright buying. I think renting makes the most sense. And we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting to see if, with electronic voting, we have more people show up, more town employees show up, more business people who live in town show up to vote, because everybody seems to be concerned that when someone votes, everybody watches who votes. So this may give us a larger, I don't know, what people say. So hopefully this will give us a larger turnout and more representation in the town. That's one item.
Question, can you rent to buy?
We can do anything we want, because you can put a contract together any way you want. But right now, the renting makes more sense because,
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying, in the future, if you,
yeah, right now, it's just a one-time, you initially try it and see what happens at town meeting. Because town meeting is gonna have to approve whatever you do later on. And the idea is that the equipment normally, I'm going off track, but the equipment normally in electronics, in 3 years' time, usually is obsolete. So to buy something, you may end up buying a product that's obsolete within a very
Something
short period of
already,
time.
Police radios.
Now, on the Bike Path Committee, we had a meeting today at our local regional RPO at Serpent, and the programs for the roads up to 2024. The bike path is in 2024, and it's been modified. It's now going to include a roundabout or a rotary that Mr. Sullivan's all happy about. Yes, and this rotary will take care of an issue that we have at basically Minot Ave, Great Neck, and Onset Ave. That wonderful intersection with 3 stop signs and 1 no stop sign, which usually ends up with accidents constantly, is going to probably get removed, and that's why this project is now listed at $5 million from the original 3. And it also gives us more points, give us basically locked in. So looks like that is coming as well. That was a lot of fun to do. And I'm trying to think what else I got going on.
Who's 5 million?
Not
Might want to
ours,
get
it's-
that out there.
It's the state's, not ours. So
Okay.
it's paid by state and federal funding, which is nice.
Mr. Chairman, the hamster started running again.
Oh,
I know
jeez.
the 40.
You put some food out again?
Yeah, I remember the 40,000. If you've got a moment, it's.
Always have a mover for you, sir.
Thank you. Chairman, I'm requesting permission to go before the Finance Committee for a reserved fund transfer in the amount of $40,000. The purpose of this is to tear down the property at 2787 Cranberry Highway. That's the property that's leaning into the road. This is one of the actions that Mr. Aquina took. I'm just going to read out a portion of this.
Asbestos City.
On January 31st, 2019, a notice of unsafe structure was sent by certified mail as well as domestic mail to both listed addresses, and both were confirmed by Mr. Russell during our conversation. Mass General Law, Chapter 143, Section 7 states that any person so notified shall be allowed until 12 noon of the day following the service of notice in which to begin to make the structure safe. As of today, no attempt has been made to make the structure safe, and a Board of Survey has been assembled. The written report as follows, which the Board of Surveyors was our members present that were called for it were our Town Council Richard Bowen, Building Commissioner David Requena, Wareham Fire Chief Mr. Matthew Rowley, Town Engineer David Menard, Disinterested Party former Fire Chief Charles Kluber, Deputy Fire Chief Patrick Haskell, Fire Prevention Officer Chris Smith. The reason for the $38,000 cost is externally there is asbestos shingle. It is unsafe to enter the structure to actually look in there. So by the standards, everything's being considered contaminated. So we will obviously put a lien on the property. The last time we did this was 118 Sandwich Road, and we now own that lot.
Just want a recommendation from us or a vote?
I just need to know it's okay to go before the Finance Committee, technically, and I'll need,
Just poll the board, make it easy. Tony?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes, please.
Peter?
Yep.
Patrick? Alan, yes.
and can I get a confirmatory vote next week, please?
Sure, you can have it right now if you
Thank
want.
I gotta notice it, though.
Yeah.
Don't need to notice it if he had another 24-hour business. Structure does have to come down relatively quickly. That thing's gonna be in the street any day.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going to,
Let you know.
well, it's going to town meeting for it, but I thought why don't we do it now and get
Probably
it
don't have
done
enough
and
time.
over
Would like me
with,
to
yeah.
revisit the
Went
24
by
If
that
you don't
building
mind,
the
just,
other
yeah.
day, and I'm looking at it, I'm saying, when are they gonna
Revisit
do
the
something? It's
24
gonna
hour?
fall.
Next week will be fine for the confirmatory. I just need to be able to tell the Finance Committee that
Town
I'm good.
council.
Just as my 2 bits, I went out and walked the property with the Board of Survey. And I'd gone up and taken a look at it maybe a week and a half before that. And just in the intervening 10 days,
Correct.
there'd been a strong windstorm. And the thing had shifted about 5 or 6 degrees just.
Yeah,
from the
I'm
wind.
telling you, it's gonna go over.
The good news is that it shifted in a direction where it wasn't likely to fall into the highway. Looked like it might fall into the backyard.
Oh, well, that's good.
This. Yeah.
There's a house back there, though,
Yeah.
just to say.
Stuff goes up in the air and travels.
Not to mention, there could be a kid around, there could be anything happening. It's in a neighborhood in the back there, Fanny's Lane is a neighborhood.
It's gotta go.
We pulled several quotes out of there. Initially, one was as low as 7,000, but when it came back to the remediation, it was more in the 38,000 range, as high as
Remediation makes all the difference in
45,000.
the world.
That's
So.
John's Manville, shingles.
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
shingles,
Problem with those.
and that,
Yep.
you know, that's not really the worst part, is that if there's something on the outside, there's more likely to be something on the inside. Floor tiles, something like that, you know?
Floor tiles, pipe
You want it back
insulation.
on the agenda for next week? for
Although,
the-
you know, believe it or not,
Thank you.
when they do those buildings now, they're doing one in Boston near me that has contamination. And believe it or not, they don't do as much abatement as they used to in the old days. Now they flood it with water while they're taking it down.
Right,
And
keeps
they
the,
put it into sealed trucks. And then they take the whole building,
Yeah, it's taking it in the water
and they
somewhere.
take it down and they burn it.
yeah, it still goes to the one landfill in the state where you can dump it, though.
No, it goes to burn.
Oh, they're
burn it.
burning now?
Yeah, because it's contaminated. So they take it to a facility somewhere.
We used to have one landfill, like
Stuff,
out in
that one's going
Spencer
to-
or something like that.
This one's
It's a
going to
crazy place.
Pennsylvania
Yeah,
to be burnt.
Even better. Pennsylvania's already contaminated,
the
good.
Rust Belt's perfect.
All right. moving
Consent
on.
agenda.
Gotta go to Plainville.
Mary's in a hurry.
I'm not.
All right, then, we'll go to the consent agenda.
Well,
Is
there
everybody
there
ready?
is one
Are you
more.
done now?
No,
No,
I'm
no,
not.
he's not done.
It actually, the 40,000 knocked the
Oh,
two
just-
items.
Boy, this is a crazy night.
Yeah, so, just keep it going.
Hamster is moving again.
With the we've thought about it, and Mr. Buckminster brought this forward last year, and I think now's the time. I'd like to put out 2 RFPs, one for Little Harbor, one for Swiss Beach for mobile food vendor, food truck for those locations to offer
That'd be a great
amenities to our
idea.
beach goers, yeah.
You know, just so you know, they used to have at Swiss Beach a little shack.
Yeah.
It's called the Beachcomber,
Oh.
and people loved it.
So I think we start with the mobile food truck and see moving forward towards
That was only last week.
vendors, so.
I was very young.
So unless I hear anything that it's a stupid idea, we'll be moving forward with it, so.
It's genius.
Ingenious.
Genius.
I don't know what to say.
Are we done now?
I'm done. No.
All right, consent agenda.
It's all that sweet stuff you ate today.
All right, I move we approve the Board of Selectmen executive session minutes for March the 12th and hold.
Motion by Patrick, second by
Second.
Tony. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? 500.
Okay, I move we approve the March 12th, which was last week. Imagine that, we're right on top of these things. I'll tell you, they're doing a terrific job. Minutes from March 12th for the regular Selectmen's meeting.
Motion by Patrick, second by Mary.
Sure.
Why not?
All those in favor?
I love it. Aye.
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 The ayes have it.
Motion by somebody on the left side of the room, is that what you said?
500.
I move we adjourn.
Motion by Patrick, second by
Me.
Peter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Wareham. Have a safe week.
Yep, stay away from Mary.